Hello, and welcome to another Monday Marriage Moment.
I'm Larry.
And I'm Paula.
And we're
Team Lofton. Today we're going to be discussing with you managing money as a team. As most of you know, money issues in the marriage can be a big stressor. So it's important that you communicate about money as a team. One of the main things you probably need to start with is bank accounts and determine how you're going to set up the bank accounts for your family. What we do, we have a joint checking account and a joint savings account, but we each also have our own individual checking accounts for our monthly allowances. Now, some couples like to just keep their money separate and they each have their own checking accounts, and then they pay different bills, whatever they set aside to pay. Or they may do it like we do. There are different ways that you can handle the bank accounts. Just make sure you do something that's going to work for your family and that's not going to cause too much stress in the marriage.
Right. Money management is very important, and it can bring a lot of stress in your marriage. And if it's something that can be avoided, then it's best to just go ahead and handle it before it gets out of control. But make sure that you guys come to a system that works and that you both agree with and comfortable with, and keep that stress out of your marriage.
Right. And then also with paying bills, again, as I was saying earlier, some couples like to separate their bills and they each are responsible for paying a certain bill for the household. In our marriage, I'm the person that pays all the bills, and that was something that we determined early on in the marriage. Right. We both contribute to the bill pot, and I make sure all the bills get paid timely, which saves our credit. Yeah, everything is good. So that really works for us. So just determine if you're going to have one person to pay all the bills, or if you're each going to, be responsible for paying a bill throughout the month.
Yeah, and I kind of like the idea of just one person paying, to just kind of come together and putting your money together and paying the bills. But of course, it has to be something that works. It has whoever is the one that is the one that manages the money and pay the bills. You have to make sure that they are going to be responsible, because the other spouse don't want to be blindsided or surprised thinking that something is being paid when it's not being paid. So just make sure that there's a lot of communication going, and whoever is the one that's going to be responsible for paying the bills, just make sure that it really happens, so you won't I guess,
get a notice in the mail.
Yeah, get a notice. Right.
Off.
Because if you put your money together and you know that there's enough money in the account to pay the bills, and then you find out that the bills are not paid, then that can definitely bring a lot of problems in the marriage.
And that's why I always say know what you owe. That way, if you discuss the amount of bills that you have to pay, make sure it gets paid timely is fine. One of the other things we do when we do have some debt, let's just say we have credit cards. Once I pay off that bill, then I would take that money next month and apply it to another bill until we get that one paid off. And that seems to work pretty good. But again, it goes with discussing, the bills with your spouse, so he knows what's going on and knows there are no issues and that everything is getting paid timely.
Right.
And then one of the other things we talk about, like both right now, we are planning for retirement. Woo woo! Woo-woo. It's coming soon.
That's right.
Coming soon. So just make sure you try to pay down that debt, so when you do prepare for retirement, you can do it with ease.
Right. Right, and another thing is make sure you're always honest with each other. If you're supposed to pay a bill, or you're supposed to contribute so much toward the bills, and if you're not able to, just let your spouse know well in advance, so they can maybe try to make up for that part that's going to be short. But you got to have a whole lot of communication together, and just be honest and open with all the finances.
And with that comes trust, because you do have to be able to trust your spouse to make sure they're paying the bills and not wasting it.
Right.
So just make sure, again, that you are speaking about or communicating about the money in the marriage, and then that way you can kind of keep everything together.
Right.
But most importantly
is paying your tithes.
Yes.
I have a scripture here. It's Malachi 3:8, and it says, "Will a man rob God? Yet you have robbed me. But you say, in what way have we robbed you? In tithings and offerings." So you don't want to rob God, because if you don't pay your tithes, the money that you keep is going to be cursed, and what that 100% of your paycheck is now going to be, it's going to be cursed. Before you know it, that money's going to go. It's going to be like having a bucket with a hole in it. So you want to make sure that you give God His due. It's best to have 90% in your bank account or 90% in your hand, but that 90% is blessed by God, rather than having 100% in your pocket and it's cursed by God. And trust me, I've tried it before and it didn't work out too good for me. So when I started paying my tithes and being obedient, I noticed that we as a family we started being blessed. I saw a tremendous difference.
Yes. And to summarize, the goal is to do what works best for your household and try to decrease that extra added stress in the marriage. This has been your Monday Marriage Moment. See you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Be blessed.